Welcome to the podcast where we speak truth, illuminate power, and fully embody who the fuck we are. This is the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. We are all about spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, talking about the things that may be controversial, even some triggering concepts, but we are all about expansion. Come on in and join us as we reclaim and recenter ourselves in the power of who we really are. We are the Light Warriors, and welcome to the revolution. Well, here we are, guys, and welcome back to episode 128 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And I am, oh my gosh, just coming off of recording this episode with Faye. And she is like rooted, confident. You can feel her energy, but so connected in flow. And this conversation was so juicy, so aligned. We dive into the mechanisms of trauma and what we're moving through in the collective, but also to like really rooted, practical conversation about leadership and dismantling this energy that has been playing out in the energetic field. And we dive into the energy of the midwife in the Aquarian Age. And I kept getting it wrong in the middle of the podcast. I was like, something about Aquarius and aging, like in the space of this all. But what does that mean? Transcendence, transmutation. We're moving through this energetic capacity, and we weave into storylines throughout this podcast. And it was so juicy, so available, I want to say, and so much awareness inside the field. So I cannot wait to share this with you. And let me just read out her bio for you guys real quick, because it just helps set the tone for what's about to transpire. So Faye is a former professional dancer with the American Ballet Theatre, is a certified Hellerwork Practitioner. Oh yeah, Hellerwork Practitioner. I got to go look that up. Kundalini Yoga Teacher and life mastery coach. Over the last 2 decades, she has developed a signature method for women to help you quickly unload the toxic conditioning of patriarchal influence. I can never say that word ever. This method deepens. Wow, I'm really botching this bio right now. Let's try this again. This method deepens your connection to your body, aligns you with spiritual law, and heightens your consciousness around the life movement choices to unleash your unique leadership potential, right? So amazing. I love this. I actually feel like there's something that will transpire in the universal plane with Faye and I as we move through the world. And I don't know what that means or what that is yet, but I could just feel called to that energy field. And yeah, I can't wait to share this with you. So like, no further ado, episode 128 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Okay, yeah, we're breathing and we're laughing, coming into launching this out into the world already. So you already know what's available coming through in your energetic field. If you are here to just receive a good time, welcome to this episode where Faye and I are going to dive into some we don't even know, and it's going to be fun. And we're just going to trust, like we were just talking about before I hit record, like I always do. And some of you guys have been listening to all of these episodes throughout the whole entire time. Some of you I know have been here for all 128 episodes, which is kind of crazy. I know, hollers to them, right? So, and I'm just want to honor you guys for being here, but like everything I do is in flow. And so Faye and I, before I hit record, we were just laughing about where we are in transition with our life right now and how we're just trusting it all. And here we are in trust. So Faye, welcome to the podcast. Super excited to have you. And I cannot wait to like chat it out with you today.
Colleen, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I am feeling the flow. And I think this is all part of the trust. Yeah. And so for everyone out there listening and all your listeners, I think it's a really fun energy to bring everybody into. It's like, okay, we're going to dive deeper into trust and see what that's all about today and how to set up. We're setting up for the new year.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of big shifts. So it's a perfect time.
Well, and also too, so we're recording this for those of you guys that don't know on December 23rd. So it's obviously going to launch into the world a little bit later, but that's okay because whenever people find this, because they may not even hear this for like a year, because some people are, you never know where this is going to land. So we're going to talk like present moment, and whoever listens to it wherever, I guarantee you, that's the information you're going to need, because that's just how energy works.
100%. And honestly, you're probably better off hearing it in February.
Speaking of February, okay, this is the question I had coming out of the gate about this midwife of the age of Aquarius or the Aquarian age. And like obviously Aquarius since in February. So I'm
Yeah,
just like, this is kind of
perfect.
fun. Yeah, what okay, so let's lead with this. What is this midwife of the age of Aquarius? And yeah, let's go.
This coined phrase,
Yeah.
midwife of the Aquarian age, it is something that a teacher of mine actually coined. And when I remember hearing it and then learning more about the Aquarian age, and as a woman on the planet at this time, in this particular generation, like this age group,
Yeah.
we really are the birthers, the creators of the Aquarian. We are the ones bringing the Aquarian age through our actual portal system and
Mm,
how we are connected. So that is like the baseline Aquarian of the midwife of the Aquarian age. We are midwifing, all of us, whether you have kids or not, the era, the age
right.
of this time, and all of the principles that are, I think probably everybody who's listening to this podcast can relate to alchemy, transformation, getting new downloads, making these big, bold, transformative moves as a
Mm,
woman on the planet, walking, and not just women, and particularly women as sort of the leaders of this time,
yeah.
that that is what is transforming and putting a layer of new energy on the planet, new systems. Our internal system is the outside system. So we really are the ones forming, shaping, recreating as we evolve.
Yeah. And in this mechanism, when this is transpiring and moving through the world, we're actually holding more safety containers for the men to step into their actual strong masculine framework, like all of the stuff that throughout the years, and not to say that men have lost it, but some of them have, and the ones that are really out there in their alpha male energy are being chastised and moved through different like so much shit's happening to them. And it's like, yeah, like, well, apparently we're going here now. This is kind of funny. And in that space of it, but it really is being led through with that safety of that feminine woman coming in to recreate and to realign some of these aspects that we've fallen out of sync with, we'll say.
I think that makes so much sense. And I love that the way that you phrase that as a safety container, because we are a container
Yeah.
and we are creating containers of transformation. Our own field is a container of transformation. And the higher the stronger the resonance can be, the more transformative that can be for somebody in your presence, in your field. And it is a safety container. I mean, that's such a beautiful way to put it. It's such a beautiful way to think about it versus like the chore, right?
Mm,
I think sometimes on the feminine side we get lost in the chore side, like it's all on us and we get like down and it's like we can't that's not helpful. That
no.
doesn't help anybody.
Yeah.
We got to keep it light, we got to keep it real, and there is real work to be done. There is like it is a warrior path to take
Yeah.
on being a midwife of the Aquarian age. I mean, birthing is a warrior thing to do.
Mhm.
And at the same time, it is a safe and soft place to be
Yeah.
able to create for others to come in to, because it's like that healing, strengthening, aligning, healing, strengthening, aligning. This is sort of like the way that I do a lot of my work, and it's cyclical, but you
Yeah.
have to have all of the things. It's not just one thing. You're not just strong all the time.
Yeah.
There is the soft shedding that needs to happen. People need to be held for that and have that. And then you also have to have that grit that comes out from the inside that's like, now it's time to step up and you're the one holding space for others. And it's that cyclical wave. It's
Yeah.
so cool to be inviting,
Yeah.
and I mean that even energetically, without even words, more, the masculine into that. Like, come play,
Yeah.
come participate.
Yeah.
It's actually quite fun.
I I I can so I'm single. Just want to put that out into the world right now. And I am really aligned with calling in the man that I'm meant to work with. And I've got some really cool guys in my energy field that are married and all of that committed relationships, but they are doing some cool shit in the world for men, like recalibrating them back in and creating these communities, and they can come together to actually be who they are and reignite that in the field of everything. And I'm like, I just want to meet my guy so he can go and play with those guys, like, and go and be for a weekend and out and do shit that, maybe don't want your woman to see you super vulnerable and real in that space, but you've got people with you and you're healing and you're, moving through that energy. And I cannot wait to meet my guy, to have him play with these guys in the world, It's just kind of like one of those things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's, I mean, play is such a big and maybe lost part
Mm.
of sort of the job, like the mission on the
Yeah.
planet too. Like if you take your mission very seriously and it really means something to you to walk the walk and to evolve and to be on the leading edge of evolution for humanity and to be a container for that evolution for humanity. But so much of it is play. Like we forget that play is how we stay in the back and forth of the energy. Whether you want to call it dominant, submissive, whether you want to call it alpha, but it don't matter. There is a play that bounces back and forth, and it's, no one wants to get, it's like if you're playing ball, like no one wants to get stuck with the ball and then like not know how to throw it back.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we're all here to reignite that and like relearn it a lot. There's a learning process that I think, I know for myself, I can say I'm a former professional ballet dancer. It was like I was super serious childhood.
Yeah.
Like learning to like lighten up and play was a thing. And in some ways, it's kind of cool that I had to relearn, because how when you relearn, you learn it like a little differently and it's with more intention.
I love
And
this. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I like some of the work right now that I'm currently doing with clients is really busting this open. And I'm like, why are you so fucking serious about this all the goddamn time? And I just am like, and because I come from a different lens, I don't understand sometimes what that actually means. So softening my own self to be like, okay, so is this scarcity energy really serving you? Or are you really going to let this stuff really, inhibit your movement forward? And I find that within about a 30-day time period, I can get them kicked out of that energy pretty good to be able to see and feel and understand. And I'm getting notes now from one of my clients who literally has been in a container with me for a month, like just over a month. And she's like, I get it. And I was like, oh my God, it only took us 30 days. We're okay.
Pretty
We're
good.
okay.
When we think about, life, it's pretty good.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, we're good. But I humble myself almost too, to be like, Colleen, like everyone's on their own journeys moving through this. And I had the ability in one of my relationships to really be with a man who played a lot, and it almost ignited. And he was like a multimillionaire doing business, and he was super serious and all the things. And there was like that big turn on that you'd watch him in business, but then he'd come home and he'd joke around and we'd laugh and do stupid shit and stuff would happen, and it would be like this really intense connection to that childlike energy. And it almost like set the tone for life for me to discover. And when we like ended up breaking up and stuff, it was like I was still seeking that in my world. I was still seeking fun and play and adventures. And I'd meet guys that'd be like, do you laugh all the time? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm just like, I do. And not like a little like giggle. Like I'm like, I'll send voice notes and be laughing halfway through a voice note about something random that I'm just telling you. And I don't ever want that to shift. Like I want that joy to lead in my life in all the things I do. Even when I'm kicking ass in certain dimensions of stuff, I'm like, and then let's layer it with some love, like
Yeah, totally. Well, and I think that goes back to that, like, it's the full scope. It's not any one thing, but it's the accessibility. Like, if you lose accessibility to laughter, which, if you've gone through trauma, there's probably a lot of us who can relate to losing accessibility, quick accessibility. So then when you gain it back, it's almost even more riveting. And when you gain, like, when you have the trust, back to trust, to be curious versus, in survival mode, then it's even more riveting. And in a way, it's like, I say this a lot in when I do some talks and I do my work out in the world, like trauma is actually the codex to psychic power. Like it's not so, like, I know it's horrible. Believe me, I've been there.
Yeah.
But it's also the codex to psychic power. There are ways, and since we're on the transformative edge of evolution, we can really use it to start to learn how to see in the dark, which I kind of think in a way might be why we're all so traumatized.
Oh,
is because you can use that heightened sensitivity
Yeah.
to start to see in the dark. And then, yes, your lifestyle does have to change, but guess what? All of our lives we're going to have to change anyways. So,
Yeah.
like we're just a little ahead of the game, like,
Yeah.
making sure that our nervous systems are well tended to and that we're honing our sensitivity for our benefit, not to be used against us anymore. I mean, again, it's like this,
So
and
cool.
I consider that part of being a midwife of the Aquarian Age as well.
Yeah.
It's like turning that,
Mm.
in a lot of ways, victimization of being put upon, especially if you're a sensitive being,
Yeah.
which I will definitely say out loud, I'm a highly sensitive being.
Yeah. Yeah.
Felt like I've been tossed around a lot but all for learning purposes until you turned it, you kind of grasp it and are like, harness it. And then you start doing that thing where it's like, then you start walking. And I think there is, I take my, my work, and I mean that in like the big scope of who I am in this lifetime, very seriously. Like I am not, joking around getting what I need done
Yeah.
while I'm here.
Yeah.
But all also with that ability and accessibility to laughter, to trust, which I think you have to trust to be able to laugh, you have to have these layers of let go to be able to bring in.
Huge.
Yeah.
So true. And like oh my gosh. Um, I do a lot of shadow work. I do a lot of dismantling shadow. I teach people what I call the dark arts training and going into the Akashic records and actually clearing shit like demonic energies and black magic curses and spells and all the things. And I have a certification program around that. So I can effectively play in the dark, but I
Mm-hmm.
also have, and it's very serious work because when fucking demonic energies in someone's field, it's fucking shit up. Like it's not an okay thing. But there's this just way I can layer some like I call it the dark arts training for I didn't call it that. I just channeled that in. I was like, I fucking love Harry Potter. Right. So it makes sense. We're doing the dark arts training. Like this is like my MO, but I'm like, I weave a certain also play fun into some of this work because if we were just under this all the time and
Right.
super weighted, like I'm super serious about my work as well and the shifts we get to make, but I also know I'm like, okay, we've made up a lot of all of our reality really, but and it's in that space of those moments to even look at it to be like, fuck, why did and I could be a comedian. I think like I literally have so many stories about shit that's happened in my life that I'm just like I laugh through because I'm like,
Yeah.
this is actually happening to me right now. And
Right
I'm
now.
fucking laugh because what else can I do? There's nothing that and I think half the people don't believe me half the time when I tell them some stuff, like not my clients or my real people. But if
Mm-hmm.
someone were to hear the story, they'd be like, she made that shit up. I'll be like, no, actually, I really didn't. But I don't know. There's just something about that I wanted to mention for some reason.
Well, yeah, well, the dark arts, seeing in the dark. I think that there's if there's fear, so here's what I think like is
Mhm.
piercing.
Yeah.
Like if there's fear around the darkness, you're fucked.
Yeah.
You have to get to a place where you're not afraid
Yeah.
of the dark. First of all, we're all making it up until you know what it is, until you have those experiences. We're all running from it
Mhm.
until you turn around and face it within yourself. And then when you can start to eat that, I used to have a teacher who would say, eat death for breakfast.
Yeah.
And I love that. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it starts to feel like, is that you like eat up the shit that would otherwise eat you up.
Yeah.
Like it's eat or be eaten. In so many ways, so many funny primal existences about being, a feminine warrior on the planet. No big deal.
You see the photos of Durga? Literally, she's got heads cut off in her hands and she's got blood all over her face. Like she's like, I fucking ate death for breakfast. What the fuck else do you need from me? And it's
Yeah.
like I'm stepping in, I'm doing the work, I'm right here. I I something just dropped in that I need to bring recognition to is like, so we talk about the conditioning of the world, and obviously we've been conditioned to be diminished in all the fucking places and all the everything that was
Mhm.
created is to keep us in our lemming lines to listen to what they want us to listen to. And while you were saying this, it's like the conditioning of you need a nightlight and the dark is scary. that moved through our ancestral lineage lines to keep us fucking diminished and in this goddamn fear because of the
Right.
fact that if we actually understood the dark is where we do the healing and we actually find more light and expand through the dark, then it's like game over on the world. And we're obviously exposing all of this right now in the space of everything coming out into the world for us
Right.
currently.
Yeah. And what you said too, what came like comes up is like, yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah.
It's an actual technical skill. It's not just, I woke up one day and I'm not afraid and I can see in the dark. I've eaten death for breakfast.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't taste good at first, it takes,
Fuck. Definitely
yeah,
doesn't. Like,
no, but it
yeah.
does start to kind of like, it just loses its power over you, to your point of you flip it over where, yeah, you don't need I don't want the nightlight anymore because I'm honing my skills. And if I don't hone my skills, when the time comes when I'm called, I won't be ready. And
Yeah.
you want to be ready because, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
real. It can be, I guess, a little terrifying in moments, but only when it's like, when when you have that trust, when you've been doing that work, you build that trust. And when you have that trust that it isn't really you, it's
Mhm.
bigger than you. It's
Yeah.
so much bigger than you. And you have so much support and you have so much, and if you have been paying attention with the practice, then you have everything you need. You don't like, you can just go in and do what you got to do in that moment that you need to do it. And you can trust that whatever happens is exactly what was supposed to happen. And you're probably not going to die.
And if you are, you probably were meant to at that time
And
anyway.
then there's that.
You know?
But for the most part, especially like when I'm working with clients and
Yeah.
stuff, if it's something like really big is up and it's like, yeah, this is the moment to change a pattern, to do something differently.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes I will bring up like, and guess what? You're probably not going to die. It's
Yeah.
probably not. And it's like, well, as soon as you break that up, you're like they'll laugh because it's like, yeah, you're right. What am I actually so afraid of? And
Yeah.
even then the next layer is not even to be afraid of death. In fact, I used this mantra for a long time in a lot of my healing, and I would use this with clients, but even in death, the answer is yes.
Yeah. Right.
Even in death, the answer is yes. It's
So
like,
cool.
what do you have?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
it's
I'm no longer going
literally,
to be,
yeah.
I was so tired of being afraid.
Yeah. And I'm not like I can fully say to you, like I am not afraid to die because I know that when I'm meant to go, I will go when I'm meant to go. So I believe so hard, so fully in that, so full-heartedly in that space. And so I live and I live
Yeah.
to the extremes. And it doesn't mean that, I might not break my leg trying to jump off this thing over here, but it also means I'm like, I'm not dying today. So like, let me tell you this quick story. I jumped out of a plane back in 2017. I skydove for charity. And there's 8 of us, and we're all girls, and some of my good friends were doing it and all the things. And they kept looking at me like, why are you not nervous? And I'm like, dude, I have way too much shit to do on this earth experience still. I am not fucking dying today. So why the hell am I going to get all worried about jumping out of a plane? And they looked at me and went, oh my God. And I literally was super calm. We get into the plane, we take off, and the door opens, and I kick a bit, like my energy kind of. I'm like, fuck, this is about to happen. And the guy who I was strapped to just knew, and he said to me, "Become one with my breath." And I literally just molded with him, and he stabilized my energy. And I was like, well, I chose the fucking best guy in the world to jump out of this plane with. And then we just went, and I didn't scream. I was just like in awe of the experience of being liberated
Yeah.
that way. And
Yeah.
but if we can actually dissect that for a second and like look at that, how many of us are worried about so much stupid shit in our life that isn't actually going to happen? And we diminish the experiences that we're in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, we dumb it down in a way
Yeah.
and try to, well, then we come into one of my favorite subjects, the illusion of control,
Yes, let's talk
which
about
is
this.
back, which is back to like death and being like, you're not in control.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go, you're gonna go. And if it's not your time, you're not gonna go. There's gonna be nothing that can kill you.
Yeah.
Like this illusion, I mean, that's back to like the spiritual law and really starting to figure out like how do you align yourself
Mm,
with spiritual law in a way that then accelerates your growth and your process and the experience you can have here on planet Earth because you're a being traveling at an incredible speed. And if you align with the laws that are just like the as above, so below, the illusion of control. Like it's not, that is all in the ego. I find the study of the ego incredibly fascinating because it's so much more vast than what we normally love, like what blanket society loves to call the ego and being egoic.
Yeah.
Like anything fearful is ego. Anything.
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 Yeah.
Anything at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so much, there's so much more nuance than to being like, oh, he's got such a big ego. And it's like, well,
maybe.
well,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I don't think it's any bigger than anybody else's, actually.
No.
It's just how it's expressing and how it's affecting you and your ego right now.
Yeah, here comes a trigger for you in the mirror showing right up for you to honor.
Right.
I got told once from one of my spiritual mentors in the past, the ego is a gift to the spirit as the spirit is a gift to the ego.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and if we can look at that polarity and that duality, because those are obviously two laws that also float through the universal plane, it's like we have to have both in this experience. It's part of what we signed up for. And I
which is play.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I love and appreciate, people in the world that are like, the new earth is coming and we're going to be in 5D and none of this ever stuff is going to happen. I was like, dude, you're on the wrong fucking planet, and I'm like, and yeah, there's a piece that moves within us and there is that connection to self that comes through, but the ego is the necessary factor and the duality of that in this earth. We can't incarnate on earth without it. Like it's just part of the law or the game.
Well, and not as a human right now.
Yeah.
You can't incarnate as a human, like the whole, but I do sense that the evolution of humanity right now is about transcendence of the ego. So it's really about knowing what it is and how to play with it yourself.
Yes.
Like how to, so my like most of my work sits in leadership. Like I'm on a mission to reclaim the word leadership from this false idea that it's like a job title and a position that you hold to an actual state of being radically responsible so that it accelerates your personal growth. We are the new earth. It is back to being the Aquarian being, the midwife of the Aquarian age. We are it. Yeah. The rate at which this changes inside of us is our reality, as within, so without. I mean, this is, we are, and there's something so interesting about the power of that. Like, everybody wants to feel power. Yeah. And it's like, well, the power is that you are creating your reality.
Yeah. Period.
That we all are, and it's not even you. Maybe that's the wrong word because that actually implies that that you are you, which is an identity, which is an ego too.
I'm sure you've read Dr. Hawkins's books on ego, like the eye of the eye and like all. Oh yeah. Totally. So true. So it's so cool. Sorry, she's getting a little bit feisty now. She went outside for a walk. Now she's back. The cat.
Give me the tail.
Yeah, like here, let's just swipe that ego through so you can see me.
Who you saying only humans have egos? Hold up.
No. And she used to, you should see the look she's giving me right now. She used to be like a queen or a princess in one of her past lives. So when I get her to pose for photos, she like literally goes into pose. Like she just, she rules the roost. Like
that is incredible.
Yeah, she's fun. She's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I think
go ahead.
Just like I was just gonna like that whole walk that you like this whole the idealism of spirituality and perfection also still comes from the ego around like perfectionism is because there is no right or wrong or good or bad. No, there is no such thing. Yeah, like that is a human moral system that does not exist.
Yeah, it's true.
In the realms. So, and I think that's how, again, like you can step into like taking, again, this idea that leadership, like reclaim it and become the leader of your life. Be like, step into that state of being like, you are the leader that you've been waiting for, actually. And we all are collectively, I mean, this is the Aquarian age. This is what the whole essence of it is that it's back to the collective. It's back to the individual. Yeah. And we are literally, and I know there's so much literature and there's so many people are talking about it, but the coagula, the like becoming, it's all the inside out kind of gross. Yeah. But also like, amazing, euphoric.
Like I'm all in for people having more peace. Okay. I just want to make sure I say that out loud. But it's like when we're positioning it like it's an outward energy, and this outwardness is going to be the shifter, it's totally in the wrong mechanism of we just see life differently and we act
Yeah,
differently in life and we be in life differently. You know, I walk the streets here with my dog, and I live in a very like Tica rooted town, meaning like native to Costa Rica. And like literally my neighbor, one day I was walking by her fence and she's about to behead her chicken on her fence, like literally like just right there. Like that's the kind of space very rooted in a being energy. Like they don't have a
yeah,
lot of stuff. Like half the houses I walk by don't have roofs or doors or things. Like it's not like North America that's rooted in things. And I say hi to everybody, and I'm avidly learning Spanish so I can actually have real conversations with people and meet them in an energy of where I am in this country. But it's like I will say hi to the drunk dude that's even stumbling down the road just to say hi to everybody. And that's almost like a spiritual flex, I call it. Like, how do we meet people in an energetic field and see them for not just the physicality or what they have, but who they actually really are? You know, and I've
yeah.
I've almost cracked my neighbor's energy. Like they don't say hi to anyone. Like even my landlord was like, Colleen, they just don't say hi to anyone. And yes,
Mhm.
it was 2 days ago, I actually got them to smile at me. And
Mhm.
her daughter says hola to me. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like I am moving the needle. And that's that it's like that stuff, you know, those things.
Yeah, it's like increasing love.
Yeah.
Like you're bringing an exchange of recognition, acknowledgement, acceptance, which is the baseline
Mm,
of love,
yeah.
to then like bring in more. Yeah, it's like whenever you see something you don't like,
Yeah.
right? Like, well, you said I'm all for people having more peace.
Yeah.
I think more peace comes from
Yeah.
aligning with these spiritual laws and accepting that there is no right or wrong, good or bad.
Yeah. Agreed.
There is no blame. Not
No.
you, not somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing
So
wrong.
no, there just is. And then we can take the fuse out of all of these major things that are happening in our world that are a reality still for you. I get they're still a reality, but now we get to look at it. Yeah, from a
Well,
different
and
viewpoint.
that's exactly what I'm pointing to is
Yeah.
like when you see something you don't like, when you're experiencing something you don't like, having the actual tools
Yeah.
to go to the subconscious mind, because if it is in your awareness,
Yeah.
it is part of your subconscious. Whether that be a memory from the past, your current life, past life, whether that be generational trauma, our subconscious mind is such a vast collection of data that
Yeah.
we are not subconscious, we are not conscious of. If it is in your awareness, it has to be in your subconscious on some level, otherwise it can't exist. That's how
Yeah.
reality is created. It has to be like as within, so without. It's there somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's nothing, rather than be, because that what can happen is a lot of time that people turn that back on themselves. Oh, I'm bad because
Yeah.
it's in my subconscious. It's like, no, 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 no. We gotta clean that out. like
It's
that's
there.
old. That's
Yeah.
religious trauma.
Yes,
Like
totally. Oh my
speaking,
gosh.
peeking up. But ultimately, like having the real tools to go and clean and clear. That's what I call it, cleaning and clearing.
Yeah.
Having the right tools to address how to clean and clear, take responsibility for its existence
Hmm.
as you as a part of it, not and remove blame, and then go to clean and clear and ask for it to be moved, and how to do that, and how to actually move it, and like that brings peace. Well, first of
Yeah.
all, it's never fun to be like, okay, I know I'm a good creator of my reality. Now what? It sucks. I'm really unhappy. I'm really uncomfortable. What am I just gonna have to just sit next? No, like I'm not that type of person
Yeah.
either.
I
I'm like,
know.
let's go to work. Let's
Yeah.
let's give me the tools, and then it's the path of mastery. Like it's one thing to have tools, but you use tools in a sloppy way,
Mm.
and which we all have to be a little sloppy at first. You got to start
Yeah.
somewhere, but you do refine it, and it's the mastery path. It's like
Well, yeah.
skillfully learning how to apply these tools how to feel it in your body, right? Like
Mm.
Aquarian Age, nothing is yours if it's not embodied. If you haven't integrated into the cellular structure, it's not yours to give. You
Mm.
can't really use the tool. Yeah. So you have to feel it in you
Yeah.
when the energy moves. And when you do, I mean, it's so exciting. Like I'm
So
sure you have
exciting.
people you work with too, or like when they feel it, you're like, fuck yeah, there it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
There's the thread. And then you're
Yeah.
like, yep, there's the thread. Now keep working the thread. And then
Yeah.
next time something else will come up, we'll find that thread. You keep working the thread. And you can clean. And of course, as you know with epigenetics, you can clean both ways. Like
Yeah.
you're cleaning on like these multidimensional levels. And
All over.
yeah, and that brings all kinds of peace and freedom and joy and the ability, again, back to that accessibility to be like, and while shit is happening, we can have some fun. We're allowed.
Yeah. And that's so this year, like 2024 for me was a very dark and depthful year, I call it. But at the same time, I have my highest month in business. I'm
Great.
working way less. I'm doing a whole bunch of things that were super fun in the space of everything. But everyone's like, what do you mean it was a dark and depthful year? I was like, guys, I was in the fucking tar most of the goddamn year, shoveling shit out, being in the fucking darkness and working through what that means and what that is and dimensions to me and all the
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've done a lot of work in 16 years of consciously choosing spirituality. All the years
Right.
before that, I was unconsciously choosing whatever, but consciously 16 years ago, I picked my first spiritual mentor to pay to do some of this work. And so I've been doing work for a while. Some of it's surface level, some of me pretending to do the work, like I'll take ownership of all of that and I'm super vocal about it all. But I'm like, this was probably the darkest year ever. Twin flame
Mm.
disconnection, got the cord got cut. Like actually the cord got fully cut this year. And I've tried to cord cut that fucking cord for a long time and I couldn't get the cord to cut. But then he had some kind of health emergency and went into surgery. And the surgeon cut the cord that attached us into our heart centers. And I didn't even know he was in the hospital. And I normally could feel everything. And so I dealt with the whole grief of what a twin flame grieving process even was and everything. So it was the craziest, I know. And I'm writing a book about it, like our whole journey, because I was told to really. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll listen, in the space of that. But it's like, it was a crazy ass year. But in the
Yeah.
same stuff, all this other stuff happened. And I felt like the energy broke a bit in November. Then all of a sudden, like I'm skyrocketing through life and I'm still in the thick of stuff, but it's not heavy anymore. It's gone. Like the awareness, like you say, is so potently aligned. So,
Yeah, yeah, I feel that too. Definitely a big shift. I mean, this year wasn't my hardest year, but I think what you tapped on too, though, just about grief. You know,
mm,
what about another, that is another great subject
oh
to
yeah.
get on in regards to how to grieve well.
Hmm. Yeah.
How to grieve well. It is such an art form and it is so important and it makes you so powerful
Yeah.
when you really know how to go to the depths of that and to let it transform you. And because, especially with the evolution of humanity at such a rapid rate, only getting faster,
Yeah.
guess what? Shit's going to be taken from us constantly. It's
All
just
over.
the beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
the grieving of who we were yesterday,
Yeah. Oh my God. So true.
just
Yeah.
like and I do think that's part of the training. Like, I think
Totally.
that's part of the training. It go back to being like, I think being traumatized is part of the training. It's like honing the nervous system, learning how to repair it very quickly. And grieving is part of the training so that you can get really good at doing it well, going deep really fast and coming back up
Yeah.
and and not shoving you can't, it is not about shoving the feelings away
No, you're
because
going
that,
knee deep in them. Yeah.
yeah, no, you go all the way
Yeah.
and let it take you over and like really know how to hold space for yourself to be sort of ridden, like
Yeah.
ride, like you're letting something else ride you.
Yeah.
And to really be like able to surrender to that, to then kind of come back into yourself in new form
Oh my
every
God.
fucking time.
Yeah. Every time. How many rebirths? I'm in a
Every
rebirth. I was like,
time.
welcome to my week.
Every time.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and it's happening more quicker and quicker and more. And so for those of us who, I'm sure there's plenty of people listening right now who know that is a thing that's like the big first deep one, the one that taught you so much. Well, there's it's because it's like you're going to get really good at it.
Yeah.
And by good at it, it's gonna be a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And again, we lose the fear of it. We know what it is. We know that it's part of that training process to actually have more joy in life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like both sides, the paradox of being here. You can do this really well, you can do this really well.
Yeah. It's so true. And I can very much ride the wave all the way in and go. And this year really proved that I could do that. And I went through the whole like once I found this out that it happened like a month later, and I was like, I'm gonna call his mom. I'm gonna like because we're twin flames. We were in a relationship, deeply rooted, like all that kind of stuff. And my spirit's like, you are not fucking doing anything. And I was like, my ego, obviously. I'll get on a plane. I'm going there. I'm going, like all the stuff, right? Da, da, da,
I
da.
need to be there.
You don't
Nope.
need to do anything. Yeah, this isn't
Right.
about you anymore. This has been cut out of your energetic field. You need to move out of this
Mm,
energy. So I went through like a week. My girlfriend was at a retreat, like my like not girlfriend partner, but my best friend here in Costa Rica was gone teaching a retreat. So I didn't even have anyone to really like that would get it that I could root in with in the space of this. So I bought every wine from all the countries we used to drink wine from. And I think I was pretty much drunk the whole week. And then I popped out of that and I went, okay, it's done. Like, thank you for that experience. And now let's move through what this actually means. And because I'm human
right.
too. And part of our connection together was we would drink a lot of wine together. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm actually alive with the amount of alcohol. We drink sometimes 5, 6 bottles a night we would drink. And I'm like, how am I standing? I don't understand. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. But that was a whole dynamic of the whole thing. So I honored that energy and I was like, I don't want to hold this anymore. I'm good. Like it's time to get move through life now. But I love
Yeah.
your visualization on this. And I love how you brought that forth and the beautiful like awareness into this. So fun.
Well, thanks for bringing it up, sharing the story. I mean, that's a deep and good for you,
Yeah.
more power to, what's the right thing to say to like a sister that you're like, yes,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, I
That's
feel
it.
all of it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, but also like, I'm sorry. Like,
Good job. You made it through.
yeah, like you're doing it.
Yeah.
I'm right here with you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you for you do. No, thank you. I think that's a big one. Like, thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
being so fucking brave.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing such hard, amazing work. Because like, it makes look we're all in. I'm doing it over here.
Yeah.
You're doing it over there. We're all in it together. We're all in it to help each other be get through the muck and be like the best versions of ourselves. Like really, truly, that's like, isn't that the most exciting to like truly be able to drop into the most authentic place that you are
Yeah.
and express it.
So
And then you get to feel expressed. Like
yeah.
there's nothing better than feeling expressed versus like stifled or shut down or blocked. Like those are the
Yeah.
worst feelings.
Yeah.
So sometimes what it takes to break that open is incredible grief or a trauma or okay, yeah, like don't wish that on anybody. And at the same time, like cool. Like,
Yeah.
and you've got so many people that can, I say this a lot too to people like, no one can walk through the fire for you. No
No.
one.
No.
But you also, none of us have ever walked through the fire alone.
Yeah.
We,
It's
we hold hands. Like we don't do it alone because you can't really do it alone. But
yeah.
no one can do it for you either. So it
Yeah.
is that layer of like, I got your hand. You're gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do it, but I got your hand.
Yeah.
And you probably won't die.
Yeah. Probably won't die.
Probably not gonna die.
I just feel really blessed of recognizing part of my mission on earth right now while you say this to me, because there's a lot of clients that come to me that have, and I made a post today on Facebook about it, about fucking bully coaches and about how they're taking power actually away from their clients. And I just went like, what the fuck, be better, because I had one of my clients come to me and she's still in this container with this woman who's fucking bullying her all the time.
Mm,
And I just recognized though, when you said this to me, it's like, I say this to my clients all the time. I'm like, you're not alone anymore. And you need to
mm,
understand the journey has brought us into this field together. And
yeah,
I'm not your crutch and I'm not going to play into your victim and all the
right.
things. My job is to hold a stature in the space and pull you through with me and you're
It
choosing
teaches
to do that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And give you the tools, whatever you're going to need to move it through. And because I'm like, I don't even take people on in 12-month containers. I'm like, no, I can get you activated in 3 months, maybe some of you 6, but we're working in this field because I want to give you the assets that you're going to need to move it forward. And maybe you keep on in programs and maybe you do cool shit and all that stuff with me. But it's like, I desire to fuel that fucking flame. And I'm like, that's my MO. And
Hmm.
it's just really cool that I just felt seen almost in that saying of like, yeah. So thank you for allowing me to feel seen and yeah, all the things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You are so welcome, and I do see you, and I
Yeah.
appreciate appreciate the work you're doing, and I
Yeah.
feel I can relate to all that you just said. So I think that's awesome.
I'm sure you can because like obviously we wouldn't be able to hold energy together here if we weren't in a common thread, like you said, in humanity. And
Yeah,
whether it's a deep weave that we're working through together and the years will expand that, or whether this was the only moment in time that we cross energetic paths to serve the world, it doesn't matter. It all is in that alignment of things. And yeah,
totally.
super cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so fun. We went into, I don't even know where over the last almost hour. It's been, isn't that crazy?
yeah.
It's almost been like an hour of us, at least 45 minutes of us talking. But I feel called to just bring forth this message now. It's like, what are you really feeling that's happening that you're seeing in the world right now that could be a really key thing for some people to consider in their life as they move through this next phase, like the age of Aquarian, the dynamics of what's transitioning in the world, some of the prophecies that I'm hearing about 2027, which I've already kind of tapped into. Like there's some stuff. So I just feel like I just want to hear what's channeling through your space. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, 100, like the thing that comes to mind is like it is this idea of understanding and the embodiment of what it is to be a leader in this
Mm,
era.
yeah.
It is not what you got to reclaim that word and embody it and become it. And it comes with a lot of confidence and
Hmm.
clarity and knowing where the fuck you're going.
Yeah.
And that can only come from within you.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to like, yes, you have people who can help show you. Yeah, and I do that work.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like it has to start with a willingness.
Hmm.
And then it has to start with that, like, okay, then how do I take a leadership role in my life? How do I be the leader of my life? And that is a walking, a talking, that is the way in which you actually perceptively perceive, like the way that you perceive how you are here, why you are here, and what you're going to do about it.
Right.
What are you going to do about it? Because you have everything you need.
Oh, yeah.
And the body always knows the truth.
Yes.
The body always knows the truth. So I think like for me, I think it just really coming, my own personal story, like I really lost everything at one point. Like I was a professional ballet dancer dancing on stages when I started on Broadway. Like I had leadership positions and meanwhile on the inside, I was not owning like which direction my life went. And anyway, in that lostness, I was taken down.
Mm.
And but it was in that opportunity to be like, okay, if I'm going to rebuild,
Yeah.
I'm going to be very, very conscious about what I take with me and what I leave behind. And that's where I start to learn about the conditioning and programming
Right.
and like being aware of when that comes up, which is very connected, like integrated into how the ego is a matrix. But
Hmm.
like what doesn't mean, and this is where midwife of the Aquarian age is right instinct with like being a leader.
Yeah.
We are on the leading edge of humanity's evolution. It's
Oh,
exciting.
yeah.
It's a mission.
Yeah.
And if you feel called, if you feel the call, if you hear that phrase and you're like it hits,
Hmm.
then you know that you're there, that
Yeah.
it's for you.
Yeah.
And if something's for you, you will get everything you need to fulfill on it.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all of this in the space of it all. Like I always say to people, it's like we are in the soul's experience, like the Academy Award of Soul Experiences. Like literally we were on the other side going, pick me, I want to go in, I want to go in, because it's like this is what we're here to do, this is the energy of this whole thing. Yeah, it's so fun. I love
And
that.
it's gotten like for me, it's gotten so much more fun
Oh yeah.
lately.
Yeah.
Lately. It's gotten so much more fun with meeting people like you and meeting more people and really finding being like, oh, we all know what we're doing. There's a certain layer of like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing now. Like we did not know what we were doing 10 years ago.
No, we don't.
Going through shit and we felt victimized and we were trying to like grappling. Now there's like a layer of like, oh no, we know what's up.
We do.
Like, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, I mean, it's still hard work. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Like, I know exactly what I
Yeah.
understand exactly what you're talking about sitting in the muck and in
Yeah.
the tar. I mean, that's going to be probably a regular part that comes and goes. But
Yeah.
like, when you know that, first of all, you're not alone
Yeah.
doing that. Someone else is doing it right over there too.
Yeah.
And that there's a whole bunch of people who are like, and like the more you get into the work and the more that you work with people, like, I have my mentors,
Yeah.
teachers, right? We're all
Yeah.
like we're pushing this evolutionary edge of humanity forward. It feels good.
It totally does. Yeah, it totally does. And I firmly believe, and I teach this, and you've said it multiple times here, is like we cannot teach something that we haven't fully integrated. So
Yeah.
we're moving through that experience. I had a program I taught earlier this year called The Deep, and it was a higher self connection program. And it's been culminating in my energy for 2 years. And could I esoterically have taught it 2 years ago? Probably, but I needed this 2 year span to connect all the dots and to be able to fully embody and embrace and bring that in to teach it into existence. And
Yeah.
I don't think the program's even ready still yet for some of my people. Like they can't even go there. Like I just feel that right now because they don't, it's too like airy fairy still, where they haven't figured out that this is the next version of you. Well, that's always the version of you, it's like kind of like that in that space of time. So it's really interesting. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I think that makes me relate back to like we change every day and we're evolving rapidly. So tapping into and knowing that you have like a plug-in to your most authentic existence at this
Mhm.
given moment and then how to express it and get it out. It's that your life is a movement.
Oh,
Back to that leadership idea, it is not a position. And this is like where the metaphor of ballet comes in. It's not about hitting the position.
yeah.
It's about the movement you can create and the choices that you're able to like, make because of the nuanced level of mastery that you have about how things ride through you.
Yeah. So true. I love this.
Yeah.
Uh, Faye, this has been amazing. I just want to say that out loud. No, I just really, I think that people are gonna have to re-listen this episode a few times to actually gather some of the stuff we just talked about, like to be able to act. Because I would be like hitting pause after a bit, be like, wow, there is a potency in that. Like there was a lot that moved through. So just really grateful for all the shares and stuff. But yeah, tell us what you got going on. Where can we find you? Obviously, we've got all the links and stuff in the show notes, but just what's floating through your field?
Yeah, so definitely you can find me on any of the links. I focus a lot on one-on-one work. I do deep, and I focus a lot on speaking. So I love to speak at events. I love to do workshops with groups of people. And I do hone in on like one-on-one work for people who really want to accelerate. And my work is very multi-layered. I do bring in a lot of the body stuff. As a former professional dancer and a bodywork practitioner for 20 years. I know a lot about how to, the body is a representation of the subconscious. So there's a lot of unwinding to do there, along with an alignment of the mind and training the mind into the body. So I like to do that one-on-one because
Yeah.
it really goes fast. So if anybody's called for that and you want to get in touch with me, links, email, I'll practically give my phone number out. Like, if you like, just, get in touch with me.
Find her, people, okay?
Yeah, I'm ready to work. Like,
Yeah. Whoever's being called into your field, let's go,
yeah,
Like you said,
absolutely.
we get to that point where we're ready. And I always make fun of this kind of sometimes because I'm like, I don't think we're ever fucking really ready. But we get to a point where it's like, it's time.
Ready enough.
Yeah, that's
Just
true.
ready enough.
Yeah, ready enough. Or just like it's not, I'm like, I need to find a new word that's gonna just like flex that energy. I'll find it soon. It'll come through.
Mhm,
It'll come through.
mhm.
But yeah, like I say to you guys all the time, if you're feeling called to Faye, like just send her a message, reach out to her, have a conversation, like this is the time that we're being called forward into all the things. And
Totally.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a powerful place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So down to, yeah, if you're feeling called to me, I love just connecting and having a conversation too. So
Oh,
like
I
really
bet.
just like if you've a little bit called and you want to get into a private space with me, see what happens.
we can't guarantee anything. Like
Right.
we'll see where we go in the cosmos. Well, you
Right.
also said like curiosity. Curiosity is a huge expander, and it's linked to fifth dimensional energy, which I talk about all the time about being able to open up more possibilities. Because if you can be curious, then you remove the box that you're playing within and can expand into this unending, let's say, atmosphere.
Yeah.
So if you're curious about Faye, send her a message. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds
So
like a lot
good.
of fun.
Yeah. How do we
Yeah.
want to leave the people, Faye? What do we want to say to close out this beautiful, expanded, energetic
Mhm.
imprint in the world?
You are exactly where you are supposed to be.
I
Like
love that.
rooted, you're here. You're here with us, like when we're all here together.
Yeah, we are in all the ways. And it's
Uh,
really, yeah, go for it.
no, go ahead. Do
No,
you,
I was just gonna say, like, I always look back at some of my old videos that I like posted on YouTube like 6, 7 years ago, or like even 3 years ago, a post I made, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna laugh at this version of me, but she really got me to exactly this moment in time, because her decisions and implementations and whatever her motivational speeches, got her into this, got me to here, and it's exactly where I'm meant to be through all these layers and versions of me. So I loved, I make fun of myself with love, obviously I'm like, I love you and this version of you, but this is fucking hilarious, this video,
yeah.
like, yeah.
I love that. I think that's such an important thing to say. Such an
Mm,
important thing to say and encouragement to make that like, it doesn't matter.
yeah.
Like the expression of who you are is making a difference. Like for
Yeah.
everybody,
Yeah.
just figuring out, be freeing up enough little bits at a
Mm,
time to keep getting the ripples of your deeper and deeper authentic expressions of you in any given moment,
yeah.
setting them free out into the planet. I mean, that's we need you.
Yeah, we
We
do.
need you. We need you, like the you.
Yeah. The full you, all
The
of
you.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
you.
the you that you are right now in the most authentic way that you can relate to it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You don't have to, it's not about perfection. It's about,
Showing up, really. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
being
I
willing.
love this. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. This has been awesome. Like
Yeah, it's been
super,
such
super
a pleasure.
grateful. It has been. And I always make a plug at the end, like in the actual outro of the podcast about reaching out to us, sharing it with a friend, tagging us, because we want to see what did you take from this podcast? And I say this all the time. And some of you are amazing at it, and some of you really suck. So I just want to encourage those that are sucking at this. Maybe today's the episode. Like,
Give us some feedback.
yeah.
Talk to us. We love talking to you.
We do. We actually, and it's not like you're going to come into our DMs, get a sales pitch. I just want to make sure I say that out loud too. It's like
Totally.
this is the work, it's the connection, it's the discovery, it's all the things. And if something shifted for you in this awareness of listening to this, then we've done our job. This is what we're here to do.
So yeah, right there with you. It's not
Yeah.
about like we love to have the conversations. You got questions, ask. You got comments, give them. Like
Yeah.
we're in
Yeah.
it. We're so deep in it. So that's a lot of fun. And it's a lot
It's
of fun. It makes it so much more fun for
so much
everybody.
more fun all over the place, and it's like, yeah, one of my clients said to me once, she's like, I want to get to a space in my life where I can just give as freely as you do. Like she got into my world and I was like, oh, I had this masterclass that I taught like a couple years ago. I'm going to send you like the Facebook group for it, just like give you the invite. And she's like, don't you sell this? I was like, yeah, but I feel called to give it to you. Like
Yeah.
I didn't ask you to pay for it. I just want to give it to you. So it's the same thing. It's like we're in this for the mechanism. Now, if we're coaching you in our DMs for like a certain period of time, then we've got to have a conversation about what that exchange looks like. But just to step up, you have a question or do the things, it's like, let's do this, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reach out.
Yeah.
It's this symbiotic give and receive. It's
Huge.
like it is in the reach out. It's both of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's one of your laws coming into play too. It's like the law of polarity. Both of them have to happen they happen simultaneously. They're both here. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cool. This has been amazing. So,
Yeah.
so grateful for
So
you and
great.
all the things. And for all you guys listening, so grateful for you guys too. And we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Well, we know that you like the podcast potentially because you're still here listening to this actual audio at this moment of time. So all that we're going to ask is, can you please just help us share it out? Tag some friends, share it with a friend, help us spread the word, because each of us moving through together as we collaborate, as we move within this light warrior movement, helps each of us illuminate in lights. And we're just so grateful. I'm so grateful. The guests are always so grateful too, that you help us spread the word, that you help us really step into this space to be able to own all of our pathway. And we are just so grateful to have you here. And thank you again for listening.